I transmigrated into the story of a novel, and a fragment of memory surfaced in my mind. I had just secured a 20 billion yuan project, yet my CEO fiancé gave the credit to her boy toy. And now she wanted me to be his assistant. My fiancé said coldly, "What's wrong? You're not willing. Do you even realize that your sour face is upsetting Makoto? I'm telling you, kneel down right now and apologize to Makoto, don't make things difficult for me." I looked around. All the company's executives were watching, gloating, but I stood up slowly, lit a cigarette, and let out a mocking laugh. Difficult? Then don't bother handling it at all. I grabbed the edge of the table with both hands, and flipped it over. Chapter 1. That night, at the celebration banquet, my CEO fiancé, Willow Lu, sat at the head of the table beside her recently returned crush, Makoto. She held up a wristwatch worth 5 million yuan and stood. This time, our Lu Corporation managed to secure the 20 billion North City project entirely thanks to Makoto's efforts. Here, I officially announce that the position of vice president of the group will be taken by Makoto. This watch, apart from the bonus, is an additional gift to him. When she finished, she personally placed the watch on Makoto's wrist. The whole room fell silent in astonishment. Everyone knew that it was me who had worked overtime for a month, drank until my stomach bled, and finally secured that project. Makoto was merely my assistant. And now President Lu gave all the credit to Makoto alone. But the senior executives present had been in the business world for years. They were all shrewd foxes. Their surprise lasted only a few seconds before they recovered. They quickly raised their glasses to toast Makoto, one after another. When they glanced my way, their eyes were full of disdain and mockery. Makoto is truly impressive, less than 3 months in the company and he's already landed such a major deal. Exactly. Makoto really deserves the title of overseas elite. What a bright future ahead. We'll be counting on your guidance, Vice President Makoto. In an instant, the private room filled with a festive, fawning atmosphere. Makoto, beaming with pride, clinked glasses with everyone in turn. From time to time, he shot me a provocative look. Willow Lu laughed and scolded playfully. "Oh come on, stop crowding around Makoto, at least give me, the president of Lu Corporation, a chance to express my gratitude too, right?" The tenderness in Willow's eyes was obvious, and those old foxes could all see it clearly. They started jeering, saying the two of them should drink a couple's toast to show sincerity. Willow pretended to hesitate, glancing at me secretly a few times. When she saw that I didn't react at all, a flicker of irritation crossed her eyes. Chapter 2. Urged on by the crowd's relentless teasing, the two of them finally drank the couple's toast. Makoto wrapped his arm around Willow's slender waist. Their eyes met, soft, lingering, filled with affection. The room erupted in thunderous applause. Every gaze turned toward me, unconsciously. In each of their eyes flickered disdain and gloating amusement. "George." Willow set down her glass, as if only now remembering that she had a fiancé, me. She curved her lips slightly, speaking in a tone that carried an air of entitlement. "Your business ability may not be as good as Makoto's, but it's still decent. Here's what we'll do. Starting tomorrow, you'll be Makoto's assistant. Work hard and support him properly." Seeing that I still didn't respond, my soon-to-be brother-in-law, Martin, the head of the logistics department, slammed his hand on the table and barked angrily. "George Su, what's with that dead face of yours? Who are you trying to impress? These 3 years you've been amnesiac. If our Lu family hadn't taken you in, you'd probably still be fighting stray dogs for food in some garbage bin. Truly pathetic and unpresentable." Willow's expression darkened further. "What's wrong? You're not willing. From the moment you walked in, you've had that rotten expression. Do you even realize that you're upsetting Makoto by acting like this? I'm telling you now, kneel down immediately and apologize to Makoto." It was only at that moment that I snapped out of the daze from having just transmigrated into this world. So, I'd become the amnesiac male supporting character. The original me wasn't even named George Su, but George Wang. He was the president and largest shareholder of the #1 conglomerate in City A, the Wang Group. Chapter 3. 3 years ago, due to a malfunction in his private jet, he was forced to parachute out. Although he survived, he lost his memory. He wandered aimlessly for days. By coincidence, he came across Willow racing her car in the suburbs, and she crashed badly. The car caught fire, and Willow was trapped inside. It was the original George who risked his life to pull her out. Barely a minute after the rescue, the sports car exploded violently. When Willow Lu learned that her savior had lost his memory, she took him home out of gratitude, because the jade pendant George wore had the character Su engraved on it. The Lu family began calling him George Su. George stayed with the Lu family for a while. At that time, the Lu family's company was in serious trouble, business was plummeting, and bankruptcy loomed. Willow was exhausted, unable to eat or sleep properly, constantly running herself ragged. As the heroine of the novel, Willow was Of course, stunningly beautiful, with a curvy, seductive figure. After living under the same roof for some time, George naturally developed feelings for her. Although much of his memory was gone, his keen business instincts and sharp commercial acumen remained intact. Late at night, he secretly revised several of Willow's business proposals. Soon after, the Liu Corporation began to recover from its downfall, and things started to improve. When the Liu family accidentally discovered that George was behind the turnaround, they were overjoyed, thrilled as if they had struck gold. The Liu patriarch, seeking to bind George to the family completely, abandoned all thought of helping him recover his true identity. He used his connections to give George a new identity and wanted him to marry into the Liu family, to serve them as their loyal workhorse for life. Though George was a business prodigy, he was also a complete simp. For the past 3 years, the original George had worked himself to the bone for Willow's approval, utterly devoted to the Liu family. Under his leadership, the Liu Corporation had grown rapidly. From a small, mediocre enterprise, it had risen to become the now prestigious Liu Group of City C. Willow had promised that if George could secure this 20 billion yuan deal, she would promote him to vice president of the group, and the two of them would marry immediately. To achieve that, the original George worked overtime for over a month, drinking with clients until he bled from the stomach, and finally signed the contract. But instead of keeping her word, Willow handed all the credit to her crush, Makoto. All of George's selfless dedication and submissive loyalty over the past 3 years had been repaid with the Liu family's naked betrayal and contempt. No one in the Liu family saw him as worthy. In the novel, this simp version of George still clung to hope for Willow Liu. In the end, when Makoto pretended to be sick, George, manipulated by Willow's emotional PUA, agreed to donate his kidney to save her lover. He died miserably on the operating table. Thinking of this, I was consumed with fury. The original one was a simp, but I'm not. You want to dig out my kidney? Let's see if the Liu family can withstand my wrath. Chapter 4. When Willow saw my face turn ugly, she grew even angrier. George, are you even listening? I'm telling you, kneel down right now and apologize to Makoto. Don't make this difficult for me. I stood up and scanned the room. All the company executives watched with gloating faces. I slowly lit a cigarette and scoffed. Difficult? Then don't bother trying. I grabbed the table with both hands and flipped it over. With a crash, dishes and drinks flew through the air. The scene instantly turned into a mess. Broken porcelain and glass. Soup and wine splashed everywhere. Willow's pristine white suit was stained. Seafood soup drenched her head. Everyone in the room, except for a handful including me, was splattered and looked utterly humiliated. The private room fell into a deathly silence. Everyone was stunned by my crazy outburst. Willow snapped back to reality and exploded with rage. George, are you insane? After a brief moment of shock, Makoto's eyes quickly lit up with wild delight. He clutched Willow's sleeve with a wronged look. Willow, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have taken this project. George must be jealous. Willow, why don't we just give the credit for this project to George? I don't care what happens to me. Willow, distressed, immediately pulled him in to comfort him. Makoto, you're so kind. How could it be your fault? It's all because George is narrow-minded. I really gave him too much face. She turned to look at me, her gaze dark as night. George, hurry up and kneel to apologize to Makoto, or don't expect me to forgive you. My brother-in-law Martin had only just wiped the caviar off his face. A vein bulged on his forehead as he grabbed a bottle of red wine and barreled toward me angrily. George, you coward, are you fucking asking for death? Heh. Before transmigrating, I was a national Sanda champion. Although the original was a simp, he'd been pampered for years and remained in excellent physical condition. Little Martin's scrawny build, did he really dare come at me? With a thud, the wine bottle smashed against my forearm and shattered. Wine and glass shards sprayed everywhere. The executives gasped and quickly scattered. A flash of excitement lit my eyes as I seized Martin by the throat. I slammed him down to the floor. Chapter 5. I grabbed an empty wine bottle and smashed it down on his head. Bang. Oh. The bottle shattered again. Shards flying everywhere. Martin's scream pierced through the entire private room. Blood gushed down his forehead. The once arrogant young master of the Liu family was now rolling on the floor, groaning like a dying dog. Ah, my head. Sis, help me. I'll kill him. Martin clutched his bleeding head, his eyes burning with venomous hatred. The room fell dead silent. Everyone was frozen in shock by the bloody scene before them. Those executives who'd been gloating earlier had gone pale as paper. Several female executives screamed in terror. Willow was completely stunned. She couldn't believe that the once submissive, compliant men before her had suddenly turned violent. George, how dare you? She shrieked and rushed toward me. I raised my hand and slapped her across the face. The sharp crack echoed throughout the room. Willow's head snapped to the side. The room was struck dumb again. Was this really the same simp who used to obey every word of President Liu? For the first time, panic and confusion flickered in Willow's eyes. She covered her reddened cheek, staring at me in disbelief, her voice trembling. You actually hit me. I slapped her again, this time on the other side of her face. Willow, if I hadn't saved you back then, the grass on your grave would already be 3 meters tall. For the past 3 years, I've given you everything, heart, soul, and effort. I even turned your nearly bankrupt family business into the corporation it is today. I kicked her in the knee, her legs buckled, and she fell straight to her knees. And how did you repay me? You treated me like a dog, calling when you pleased, dismissing me when you were bored. I worked myself to death to land that 20 billion project for you. And you turned around and gave all the credit to your boy toy. You dared to drink a couple's toast with him right in front of me. I slapped her across the face again, harder this time. Where's your shame? Ah. Willow Liu, the proud president of the Liu Corporation, was now on her knees, being slapped by the men she had always looked down on. Humiliation burned in her chest. She struggled to stand, but couldn't, and screamed hysterically. George, you've lost your mind. Forget the facts for a second. Wasn't all of this something you chose to do just to please me? You love me so much. Isn't it just because you were jealous seeing me drink with Makoto? Can't you be a little more generous? Chapter 6. Hey, of course. This was exactly the kind of cliché scene straight out of a girl's romance novel. I couldn't help but laugh, irritated by how absurd her words sounded. Be more mature, I mocked. I crouched down and grabbed her delicate, pale chin. Then, since you're already kneeling in front of me and taking the hits, why don't you be the one to act mature? Pretend nothing happened. All right. Just then, I felt a gust of wind rush toward me from behind. Instinctively, I dodged and kicked. Bam. Makoto, who had been about to attack me with a bottle, took my kick straight to the stomach and went flying. He slammed hard against the wall and slid down, groaning in pain. Damn it, this fake pretentious coquette even dares attack me from behind. I rushed toward him, grabbed his hair, and smashed his head against the wall again and again. In a women's novel world, logic doesn't work, only physical solutions do. Willow, seeing Makoto getting beaten up, went crazy. George, stop. You can hit me all you want, but if you dare lay a hand on Makoto, you'll pay for it. Call the police, quick, I want that bastard thrown in jail. The executives, still paralyzed by fear, finally snapped out of it. They scrambled to pull out their phones to call the police. I froze for a second. Was there even police in this girl's novel world? Damn it, I hadn't accounted for that. I quickly regained my composure, leaned close to Makoto, and whispered a few words in his ear. His face instantly twisted, turning pale as wax. He screamed in panic. No, don't call the police. Hang up now. Chapter 7. For a few seconds, everyone stood frozen. No one knew whether they should continue the call or not. Seeing that Makoto could behave properly, I decided to forgive him for now. Willow immediately ran to him, her eyes full of worry. Makoto, his face pale and contorted, spoke quickly. Willow, don't call the police. The company just secured this crucial contract. If word gets out and it affects the partnership, the losses for the group would be immeasurable. And besides, you and George are an engaged couple. If this gets to the media, the reputation of the Liu family. This Makoto really deserved his title as the protagonist. Quick-witted, clever, and smooth-tongued. And as expected, his reasoning deeply moved Willow. Tears welled up in her eyes. Makoto, you're so kind. Even in this condition, you're still thinking about the company and the Liu family. I didn't bother exposing him. That Makoto was a venomous snake, and I planned to use him against the Lius. Before leaving, I gave Makoto one last kick. Then I turned and walked toward the door. Willow, furious, stood up shouting, George, what do you think you're doing? If you walk out of this room, don't ever come back. I'm warning you, if you don't kneel right now and apologize to me and Makoto, I'll never forgive you. I tilted my head slightly and gave her a mocking look. Oh, really? Then it's over. Willow, unless you kneel now and beg me, maybe I'll consider it. Willow exploded with rage, clenching her fists so tightly her knuckles cracked. I no longer felt like dealing with her powerless fury. I strode out of the hall with firm steps. No one dared stop me. The crowd backed away a few steps, their eyes filled with fear. George, you bastard, Willow shouted behind me. You're nothing but a dog of the Liu family. Do you really think you can survive without us? I didn't stop or even glance back. According to the original story, the Wang Corporation was still powerful under the leadership of its vice president, Anna. I didn't return immediately to the Wang Group headquarters. First, I went to the police station to retrieve my ID. Then to the bank to reactivate my card. Seeing that long string of zeros in my account filled me with a sense of security, I took the first flight to a small island in the South Pacific. After all, having just regained my fortune, the first thing to do was to relax a little. Chapter 8. I lay back on the beach chair, gazing at the turquoise sea and the endless blue sky, sipping a glass of rich red wine, watching the beach full of bikinis, and feeling two stunning young models massaging my legs. Now this was the ultimate pleasure of the rich. But good things never last long. Only 3 days had passed when Anna showed up. Anna's beauty even surpassed Willow's, especially those long, slender legs of hers, miles ahead of Willow's. She looked at me, covering her mouth as tears streamed down her face. I touched the jade pendant hanging on my chest and let out a sigh. That pendant had been a gift from Anna Sue. The engraved character, Sue, was her family name. She had been a poor student sponsored by the Wang family, living in their home since childhood. After graduating from an elite overseas university, she joined the Wang group as an intern. Through her own hard work, Anna had climbed her way up from the bottom all the way to vice president. After the original George disappeared, she kept the news tightly under wraps to maintain the company's stability. For 3 years, she had never stopped searching for me in secret. In the novel's original plot, after George Wang's death, Anna went completely insane, fell into darkness. The Liu family vanished overnight, wiped off the face of the earth. But Anna, in the end, couldn't escape the law either. Her ending was tragic and pitiful. I grinned at her cheerfully. Anna, long time no see. Suddenly, she lost control of her emotions and threw herself at me. Her fists, carrying a faint fragrance, rained down on my chest like a storm. George Wang, you bastard. Do you have any idea what these 3 years have been like for me? You disappeared for 3 whole years. Do you know how hard it's been for me to keep the board under control? Do you know how worried I was about you? I thought you were dead, and yet I had to pretend every day like nothing had happened. I thought I'd never see you again. Sob. When she finally tired herself out, she collapsed against me, crying softly, her fragrant shoulders trembling uncontrollably. I held her tightly, and a wave of pity welled up in my chest. I'm sorry, I said gently. I lost my memory these past 3 years. Only 3 days ago did everything come back to me. She jerked her head up, her face full of shock. I slowly told her everything that had happened over the last 3 years. The Liu family. Anna's eyes turned cold. The Liu group that suddenly rose to power in City C over the past 3 years. I nodded. They deliberately hid the truth about my accident and memory loss 3 years ago, just to tie me down and make me their servant. A flicker of icy killing intent flashed in Anna's eyes. They dared to treat you like that. Don't rush to act, I said, patting her hand reassuringly. I have my own plan. The Liu family will pay for what they've done. Chapter 9. The next day, Anna and I flew back to Cydia together. I convened a board meeting immediately. The shareholders who had been celebrating my presumed death were now ashen with shock. They glanced at one another. Then, forcing their courage, some of them stood up to challenge me. They accused me of being absent for 3 years and claimed it was an extremely irresponsible act toward the group. They even arrogantly demanded that I resign to take responsibility. These fake people in this ridiculous world still needed physical measures to be subdued. I grabbed the ringleader by the throat and squeezed hard. With one hand I lifted him off his feet. I didn't let go until he was nearly about to faint. He dropped to his knees, his face flushed crimson, clutching his neck with both hands. He hacked and coughed, his eyes full of terror. He didn't dare open his mouth again. With a loud thunk, I drove a dagger deep into the office desk, narrowing my eyes as I scanned the room. Who the hell else has an objection? Step forward now. The other shareholders were cowed by my ruthless display. One by one they met my gaze and involuntarily bowed their heads. Seeing these troublemakers become obedient and restrained, Anna couldn't help but cast me a look of admiration. These past 3 years they had tormented her countless times. Many times after meetings she had snuck away to wipe her tears. Who would have thought that on the very first day of my return I would crush them so utterly that they couldn't lift their heads? I then issued my first strategic order. The Wang group would immediately advance into City C. Of course it wasn't only to deal with the Liu family. City C isn't far from City A and has only recently begun to develop these past few years. It's a golden opportunity to seize market share. And since I knew the major forces and plans in City C inside and out, it would be like adding wings to a tiger. Chapter 10. A month later, Anna and I were riding in the company's presidential car. On our way to City C, Willow's calls kept coming in one after another. I rejected every single one of them. Then came her voice messages. George, I'm giving you 1 hour, get over here right now. You've made enough of a scene. What the hell do you want? If you come back now and apologize to Makoto, I can pretend nothing ever happened. Otherwise, don't even think about me forgiving you. I cursed under my breath, called her an idiot, then rolled down the car window and threw the phone out. My old number had already been reinstated. The identity of George Su was no longer needed. Anna held onto my arm and spoke softly. George, I've already had people look into what's going on inside the Lu group. That fool Makoto is a total amateur, he doesn't understand anything. Since he became vice president, he's lost several major projects. In just over a month, the Lu group's performance has already started dropping sharply. Makoto blames everyone else for the problems and spends every day raging in the company, firing several of the truly competent people. At this rate, we won't even have to do anything, the Lu group will destroy itself soon enough. The chaos in the Lu group didn't surprise me in the slightest. Willow, that hopeless love-brained woman, handed control of the company to a con artist. It would be a miracle if the company didn't collapse. Anna continued. Willow's only trying to reach you now because she's really desperate. Her eyes, bright as starlight, locked onto mine. George, don't tell me you still have feelings for her. I pinched her soft cheeks and gave them a playful tug. What are you thinking? Silly girl. Ow, that hurts. Anna pouted and slapped my hand away. Though a sweet smile spread across her face, I just got a little worried. That's all. You did spend 3 years with her. Thinking of the original George's 3 years of simping made my face burn with embarrassment. Nonsense. My brain must have been broken back then. All right. Don't bring that up ever again. Anna covered her mouth and giggled. I leaned in and planted a kiss on her flawless cheek. Besides, my Anna's prettier than she is, and you've got a better body too, with you by my side. How could I ever look at another woman? Anna's delicate face instantly flushed red. She nestled into my chest, too shy to lift her head. After a long silence, she whispered, George, yeah. Promise me, you'll never leave me again. Okay. I touched her soft, tear-streaked face and found she was crying again. Holding her tightly, I spoke a single word with all my strength. Okay. Chapter 11. Just as Anna and I checked into the Delien Grand Hotel in City C, we unexpectedly ran into Willow, who was there hosting a dinner for business partners. She suddenly called out to me from behind, her voice trembling with suppressed anger. George, stop right there. I told Anna to go ahead and take the elevator first. Then I turned around and looked at Willow with a cold, detached expression. Willow glared at me, her whole body shaking with rage. Just moments ago, she had seen me behaving intimately with a woman. She hadn't seen the woman's face clearly. But that figure, hotter than her own, was enough to ignite the fury she'd been holding back. George, you bastard, you don't answer my calls, you ignore my messages. And now you're walking into a hotel with another woman. Do you have any shame? Tell me right now, who is that woman? Have you been staying with that fox spirit these past few days? Watching her lose control like that, I couldn't help but curl my lips into a smirk. Miss Lu, I said coolly, have you forgotten that there's nothing between us anymore? Then, as if suddenly remembering something, I changed my tone. Even if there were something between us, why is it that only you're allowed to have an old flame? But I'm not. As expected, when your heart is filthy, everything you see looks filthy too. That last line was one she herself had once thrown at me. The night Makoto returned to the country, Willow had hosted a welcome party for him. The original George had gone to pick her up, only to catch the two of them hugging at the bar entrance. He'd stormed up to confront her, furious, but Willow had looked annoyed and impatient. George, there's nothing between me and Makoto. If there really were, would I still be engaged to you? As expected, when your heart is filthy, everything you see looks filthy too. Now, I returned those exact same words to her, word for word. Willow froze for a moment, then let out a laugh. George, you really are something. You loved me so much, and now you found a woman just to put on a show. You're just trying to make me jealous, aren't you? Hoping I'll pay more attention to you. Heh. Let me tell you, your little tricks don't work on me. All this time you've been avoiding the company. Trying to prove that the Lu group can't survive without you. Trying to see me fail and laugh at me. George, you really are vicious. Yes, fine, I admit it, without you. The Lu group has had some trouble this past month, but you probably don't know yet, do you? The top company in City A, the Wang Group, is expanding into City C. As long as our Lu group secures a contract with the Wang Group, we'll rise straight to the top. If you apologize to Makoto right now and obediently come back to work as his assistant, it's still not too late. Otherwise, the Lu group will soon be far beyond your reach. And when that day comes, even if you kneel and beg me, I won't give you so much as a single glance. Just then, her phone started ringing loudly. I could tell right away, it was the custom ringtone she'd set for Makoto. She answered it, and her expression instantly changed. What, your kidneys hurt? Wait there, I'll be right over. She hung up and hurried off, completely forgetting I even existed. Heh, so even after I'm gone, Makoto still won't give up. Still scheming to get at my kidney. His good days were almost over. Once Willow left, I turned to my assistant, who was standing nearby, and gave a calm order. Hire a private investigator. I want every move Willow and Makoto make watched closely. The assistant nodded quickly and rushed off to make the arrangements. Chapter 12. Why stay in a hotel when a big villa is so much more comfortable? The next day I had my assistant arrange the purchase of a top-tier estate. The assistant told me that Willow had been hanging around the Delian Grand Hotel these past few days trying to track my whereabouts. But that hotel was a Wong Group property. There was no way anyone there would leak information to her. A week later, the Wong Group's 10 billion project went up for public tender at the Delian Hotel. Anna and the company executives had gone to the venue early to set things up. I arrived shortly after with my assistant and bodyguards. To my surprise, at the hotel entrance we bumped into the Lu party. Willow looked very pretty, her makeup immaculate. Makoto and Martin were at her side, dressed in bespoke suits and carrying themselves with arrogant airs. When they saw me, Martin froze for a moment, then sneered, "George, what are you doing here? Can't make it anywhere else." "Huh, come apply to be hotel security," Makoto scoffed. "Maybe he's here to bid on Wong Group's 10 billion project," Martin mocked, glancing at the entourage behind me. "That guy, he really thinks hiring a few actors makes him a business tycoon. He's nothing but a waste our Lu family coddled. What right does he have to compete for Wong's projects?" I loosened up, my joints popping with a crack. I gave those two idiots a half smile, half smirk. My hands are itching again, feel like smacking two fools, I said. Martin and Makoto's faces changed in an instant. Both of them immediately took 2 hurried steps back. Their brutal beating at the celebration banquet was still fresh in their memories. Fear showed across their faces. "Why you, don't get crazy," Martin barked, trying to sound fierce but showing his weakness. "This is Wong Group's turf." I stepped forward another couple of paces, taunting. "So?" Makoto kept backing away, his voice starting to crack. "George, I advise you to behave. We're here to bid today. If you cause trouble, Wong Group won't let you off." I feinted a strike. The two of them panicked and darted into the hotel, then ran quite a distance before looking back at me, afraid I might pursue them in a frenzy. The other Lu executives, seeing this, kept their distance as well. Chapter 13. Willow's expression turned complicated when she saw the scene. She quickly caught up to me. "George, stop making a scene. You've been jealous for so long, there should be a limit. I'm giving you one last chance. Makoto's kidney is failing. As long as you agree to donate one of yours to him, I'll agree to marry you." I slapped her hard across the face. "Willow, do you think I'm an idiot? You want me to donate a kidney to Makoto, and I'm supposed to be grateful for it, even marry you afterward? With trash like you really think I'd ever want you? Pa, you're not worth a damn thing." Without another glance, I strode past her into the building. Willow clutched her face, shouting furiously behind me. "George, you bastard. Even now, you're still playing hard to get with me. I'm telling you, you're finished. When I win Wong Group's 10 billion project, I'll make you kneel before me and beg." Chapter 14. The bidding conference was packed to the brim. All of City C's business elites were waiting in eager anticipation. After all, the Wong Group, the #1 conglomerate in City A, was far beyond their reach. Up to now, it had always been Vice President Anna who represented the company in public. But this time, rumors had spread that the mysterious largest shareholder of Wong Group, the company's president, George Wong himself, would make a public appearance. The news had caused quite a stir. The Lu Group's executives sat in the audience looking full of confidence. In recent years, their company had risen rapidly. Many of their operations overlapped with the Wong Group's. Across all of City C, the Lu Group was considered the most likely candidate to win the bid. Many attendees cast them admiring glances. Then I entered, flanked by the senior executives of the Wong Group. Vice President Anna, like a gentle wife, stood half a step behind me at my side. We didn't have many people with us, but the aura we carried, it was overwhelming. Like an army of 10,000, the crowd froze in shock, then erupted into an uproar. Many recognized me immediately. Wasn't I that ex-fiancé from the Lu family, that almost son-in-law? How was this possible? How could he be the legendary president of the Wong Group, George Wong? The entire Lu delegation was dumbfounded. Willow screamed and jumped to her feet. "No way. How could you possibly be George Wong? You're just my simp. How could you ever be the president of the Wong Group?" The moment those words left her mouth, every Wong Group executive's expression darkened. Anna's face turned cold instantly. She grabbed the microphone and snapped sharply. "Miss Lu, if you dare speak disrespectfully to the president of Wong Group again, I'll have security throw every single one of you out right now." The other executives glared at the Lu delegation with open hostility. The threat was clear. Willow was completely cowed by Anna's authority, her face turning pale, then flushed, then pale again. Only now did she finally understand. She had never imagined that before I lost my memory, I had been a business titan, the president of the Wong Group, George Wong. Makoto and Martin sat frozen, Dumbstruck, their minds blank, the rest of the Lu team exchanged horrified looks, their faces all equally grim. Chapter 15. The bidding results came out, no surprise. The Lu group didn't win. Willow instantly exploded. She shot to her feet, glaring at me, and shouted, "George, this isn't fair. You're just taking personal revenge." "Fine, I admit it, I was wrong. I shouldn't have treated you that way. But are you really going to just stand there and watch the Lu group collapse?" I looked at the Lu delegation with open mockery. My cold, emotionless voice echoed across the entire hall. "Heh, and what if I am taking personal revenge? What if I do want to watch your Lu family crumble back into the dirt, so what?" The whole audience erupted again. Arrogant. Utterly arrogant. But George Wang had the right to be arrogant. Now, everyone in the room looked at the Lu team with gloating amusement. The Lu executives were furious but didn't dare say a word. Seeing their unwilling faces, I snatched up their proposal and threw it to the floor like garbage. "Willow, this is the Lu group's so-called bid proposal. All the data in here is copied straight off the internet, the content's bland and unoriginal. You really thought this trash could win the bid? Keep dreaming. What a joke." Willow picked up the fallen document and flipped through it. Back then, I had always been the one writing the company's proposals. Willow had only ever been a half-trained amateur, she'd never noticed the flaws before. Now that I'd pointed it out, the truth hit her like a slap. Her face turned pale, her fingers gripping the papers so tightly they turned white. She glared at Makoto, teeth clenched. "Makoto, this is the proposal you wrote? This is what you called foolproof?" Makoto, feeling the weight of everyone's eyes on him, flushed scarlet. He stammered, unable to speak. I didn't bother watching their dogfight. With a wave of my hand, I ordered security to throw them out. Willow's sobbing voice echoed behind her as she was dragged away. "George, I know I was wrong. You can't do this to me." Chapter 16. In the days that followed, the Lu group's downfall became unstoppable. Their performance plummeted like a cliff collapse. Stock after stock hit the limit down. The company was now facing the risk of being delisted entirely. This crisis was far worse than the one 3 years ago. Those who had once rushed to curry favor with me, the Wang group, were now mercilessly kicking the Lu family while they were down. Without the slightest hesitation, Willow was losing her mind, completely clueless about what to do. Old Master Lu was so enraged that he ended up hospitalized. Willow had been chasing me everywhere. She'd blocked my path at the Wang Group's City C branch for half a month. And when she found out I'd returned to City A, she stood outside the Wang Group headquarters for more than a week. That day, just as I stepped out of the Wang building, Willow suddenly dropped to her knees with a thud. George Wang, I was wrong. Please save me, save my Lu family. Our company is finished, I don't know what else to do. It's all my fault. As long as you're willing to help me, I'll do anything. George, I'm still clean. I never let Makoto touch me. Please, give me another chance. I looked down at her coldly from above. Her hair was a mess, her eyes sunken, her whole face haggard. The arrogance she once wore so proudly was long gone. Willow, you still have the nerve to ask me for help? I worked myself to the bone for your Lu family for 3 years, and what did I get in return? You wanted me to be your pretty boy's assistant. Tell me, what were you thinking? Your Lu family's going down, why don't you beg Makoto to save you? Why come to me? Willow shook her head desperately, tears streaming down her face. I was wrong. George, I'm sorry. Makoto, he's a bastard. He ran off with all of the Lu group's liquid assets. Her eyes were full of regret, and she sobbed so hard she could barely breathe. But I asked her an entirely unexpected question. Willow, do you still remember Cameron? The men you and Makoto framed and sent to prison. Chapter 17. In this story, Willow, Makoto, and Cameron had once been classmates. Willow was a spoiled rich girl, a pampered heiress. Makoto was the notorious school bully, and Cameron was just a poor student they both tormented for fun. Where there is oppression, there is resistance. One day, when Cameron was once again forced to kneel and slap himself, he finally snapped and fought back, injuring Makoto in the process. The result? The breakfast stall run by his single mother, who had raised him alone, was smashed to pieces by hired thugs. Every time she tried to reopen, it was destroyed again. Then, Makoto and Willow joined hands to frame Cameron for theft, and he was thrown into prison. During that time, Cameron's mother went everywhere begging for help. No one was willing to lift a finger. She became increasingly unstable, but still forced herself to keep working the breakfast stall, trying to scrape together enough money for an appeal. When the stall was destroyed once more, she completely lost hope. Cameron's mother ran straight into the street, and was struck by a speeding truck, killed instantly. Makoto's parents, realizing the disaster their son had caused, immediately sent him overseas. When I mentioned Cameron's name, Willow's sobs stopped abruptly. Her face went ghostly pale, her eyes darting nervously. How do you know about Cameron? I didn't answer her. Instead, I threw a stack of photos right into her face. Take a good look. Willow. Makoto went missing abroad 6 months ago. These photos were taken by the foreign police. They've confirmed that Makoto was murdered 6 months ago. Willow's mind went blank. It felt like her skull had exploded. No, impossible. Her scream echoed through the air, her eyes wide with terror. If Makoto's dead, then the one who's been with me all these months, who is he? I let out a cold, cutting laugh. Who do you think? Do you know what I said at the celebration party that made Makoto panic and yell not to call the police? I just said one word, Cameron. After killing Makoto, Cameron had undergone extensive plastic surgery to become his double, all for the sake of vengeance. Willow looked utterly drained. As though all the strength had been sucked from her body, she collapsed to the floor, trembling, her eyes filled with horror and disbelief. So, all this time, her voice quivered so much she could barely form the words. I've been with a murderer. And I let my Lu family fall to ruin for a murderer. Chapter 18. I let out a mocking laugh and continued coldly. Oh, it's far from over. The overseas police also discovered that Makoto's killer was a professional hitman. You said Cameron ran off with all of your Lu group's liquid assets. With that kind of money, he could hire enough killers to take out an entire family. Do you really think Cameron would stop with Makoto? That he'd spare Makoto's family, or your Lu family? Willow's pupils shrank sharply. She stood frozen, her eyes filled with terror. And no, impossible. I crouched down, meeting her trembling gaze. Willow, you helped frame Cameron. You're just as guilty for sending him to prison, and for his mother's death. Do you really think Cameron will spare you? At that, Willow completely broke down. For a long time, she could barely speak. Then, trembling, her voice returned, hoarse and panicked. What do I do? What should I do? She grabbed onto my pant leg, crying hysterically. George Wong, please help me. You know so much, you must be able to find Cameron's whereabouts. Right. I was wrong. George Wong, I really was wrong. Please, save me. I slowly stood up, brushing the dust off my suit. Willow, everything that's happened to you, you brought it upon yourself. You're just getting what you deserve, and now you want to repent. Too late. Just then, my phone rang abruptly. When I answered, my assistant's anxious voice came through. President Wong, we just received news. Makoto's parents were in a car accident overseas. They both died on the spot. I had the call on speakerphone, so Willow heard every word clearly. Her body started trembling violently, her face going completely white. Looks like. I hung up and looked down at her with a faint, cold smile. The revenge has already begun. Without another glance, I turned and walked away, flanked by my bodyguards. George. Behind me came Willow's heart-wrenching scream. Later, my assistant reported what happened afterward. Willow went straight to the police, but it was too late. Old Master Lu had his oxygen tube pulled out in the hospital. He died that very night. Martin was found dead in a woman's bed. Only Willow survived, placed under police protection. But when she heard that her father and brother were dead, she snapped completely, lost her mind. In the end, she had to be sent to a psychiatric hospital. As for Cameron, he didn't escape either. He was captured while trying to flee the country, caught red-handed at the border. When I heard the news, I was lying on a beach with Anna in my arms, on vacation. Anna noticed my eyes drifting toward the countless bikinis on the sand. She pinched my waist hard, glaring. Don't look. If you have to look, look at me. They're not prettier than I am. I looked down at the beauty in my arms and gave her a playful smack on her firm backside. How am I supposed to look when you're dressed so conservatively? Her cheeks flushed red as she whispered shyly. I bought a new one, some lingerie. There's not much fabric. I'll wear it tonight, just for you. Damn. The girl had finally learned how to tease. How could I possibly resist that kind of temptation? I pulled her close, tilted her chin up, and kissed her deeply.